Welcome back, CSE 3200 Yukon Stores. We're going to start Chapter 10, which mostly has to do with Recycle View. Remember that the application that we're building is called a list detail application. In Chapter 9, we did the detail view, and we've basically been able to launch our application and see a generic view with no title, isn't solved, etc. And now in Chapter 10, we are going to start our list, and our list is going to use Recycler View. Here are some of our objectives for the chapter. We are going to not even get completely done with the first bullet. In this video, we are going to get 2 Kotlin classes coded in this video. Now, this is an old screen. Kind of pay no attention to it because as of, well, let's see, right now I'm coding in Ladybug, but in the previous edition, Hedgehog, we didn't need to put in any changes in the Gradle for the view model. I noticed this in Robot, but I put it in anyway. It was an accident that I noticed it because I forgot to put the this line of code in, and I started coding the view model, and it was working. So this time I did check it out. I went to ChatGPT to figure out if I needed it still, and it said, Hedgehog, you no longer needed it except for if we were using fragments or view binding, and we're using both. So I said that I'm using those things, and it's still working, and so it inferred, well, then by Ladybug it must have, this must be fully integrated. So far, I haven't needed that at all, so we're going to skip that part. I hadn't planned on doing this, but I think I will do it since I just noticed a piece of code that in the previous video, the last video in Chapter 9, I had a small mistake, and I corrected it in class, but I want to correct it here. Let's see, what was it? I was talking about the first time this line of code was going to get hit and therefore set my binding, which can only be set once. And I said that it happened here, and soon after I turned off the recording, I glanced up and saw, no, it happens right here on line 39. All right, so correction made. We are going to create a view model for our list class. So right-click, new, Kotlin class, file. And this was going to be called CrimeListViewModel. And it is going to be a child of the viewModel class. Need parentheses here. Now, we are going to make a list of crimes. This will be temporary, but I think it gets us all the way through Chapter 10. Right now, we have one crime. It's very generic, and it's being instantiated in the onCreate and CrimeDetailFragment. But the responsibility of populating our list, which we haven't even created yet, is going to change. Val crimes is equal to a immutable list of, go in front of the parentheses, put angle brackets, and inside the angle brackets, lower or uppercase crime. Val crimes is a mutable list of crime objects. Now, I mentioned in class this seems like a contradiction. It shouldn't work because Val says we can't change crimes, and mutable list is the version that is changeable. But this does work. It basically means that the memory address that starts the list will not change, which means that I can't make a copy of crimes. If I had, if I said that this was a list of instead of a mutable list of, then that could be a contradiction. It would have to change the entire list. Make an init function. This is the second time we've made an init function. The first time might have been in the other view model, the one we made in Robot. It was temporary. This one will also be temporary. what we're going to do is we are going to populate our mutable list of crimes for I in 0 until 100. Now, I always pause here and look at the hints and see that I've got the inclusive for the beginning and the non-inclusive for the end, which was what I expected. That will give me 100 pieces of data. Val crime is equal to a call to the crime constructor. The crime constructor has 4 arguments. We've seen it a couple of times. Last time we saw it was right here. We will have a change to the title, but actually, you know what? I'm just going to copy this, and there will be a couple of changes. ID equals UUID.randomUUID is fine. We did get the import for the UUID and the date when we copied this. And the date line is also fine. The is solved, it's going to change, and the title will change. And the title is going to change so that I could see this is crime number 1, this is crime number 2, etc. It'll actually start at 0. Crime number. And then I'm going to put the $ for an escape character inside of this literal string. And I'm going to put I. So it will read crime number 0, crime number 1, crime number 2, etc. And the is solved, even though I'm going to change this now, we won't see what it's for a little bit. I mod 2 is equal 0. Is it equal to 0? Now, what that is for is I will give you an asset that is handcuff icons, and it's going to be a nice visual to this thing is solved. And this is just going to be a nice check visually to see if we are getting appropriate data. So every other one of the initial temporary crimes, they're going to have the handcuff icon and say that they are solved. All right, now, every time I create a crime, if I wait until after, say right here, to add that crime to our list, then I will have missed the first 99 of the crimes. I've made that mistake before. So right here, after the inside the for loop, but after we've created the crime, we're going to add the current crime to our crimes mutable list. Crimes plus equals crime does the trick. Now, this is kind of a cute line of code. I was a little surprised to see that this works in Kotlin with mutable lists. I would have expected something more like this, crimes.add, and inside parentheses, the crime. Now, I can keep that, but it actually will make 200 crimes. These are almost perfectly equivalent. For all practical purposes, they are equivalent, so I'll get rid of that one. All right, our CrimeListViewModel seems to be OK for now. We're going to now make our CrimeListFragment. Right-click here, new Kotlin class file, CrimeListFragment. And we're going to have it extend fragment. I am going to hover here and show you that there was an option that I've never picked. I've always picked the Android X fragment app, but I've never mentioned it. I believe that this fragment version here is old and probably is not going to work all the time. So we're always going to use the Android X, the Jetpack Compose version of fragment. Put the parentheses, and now we've extended the fragment. Now, all we're going to do in this video is make sure that we are getting the right number of crimes. We'll also try to get our visual to show up, but we won't create the user interface file in this video. So that means that just the logcat is going to be our evidence to see that we've succeeded. All right, so we're going to override the onCreate. Override fun onCreate. It is actually not necessary to override the onCreate for fragments. I think I might have mentioned that in the Chapter 9 videos, but the reminder does not hurt. And all we're going to do is we're going to log something that says we've got this many crimes. Now, I need 2 things before I could do that. I need a tag, which I haven't put in yet. And I need to do that like right now. The other thing is I need my view model in order to say, hey, view model, can I have the crimes so that I could have the size of crimes? So I'm going to need to use the by property delegate and make a view model too. I'm going to do the tag first. Private const val tag is equal to, in double quotes, the name of the class, CrimeListFragment. So tag there, and just put a default message until I get my view model ready to go. So the view model is CrimeListViewModel, and the name of the variable is going to be CrimeListViewModel of type CrimeListViewModel, but I want it to be lowercase, the name of the variable, private val lowercase CrimeListViewModel is of type uppercase CrimeListViewModel by view models. Now, I have had trouble with this in the past. I had a student who had trouble with this in the past, where something just kind of doesn't work, and I've never really figured out what the problem is, where you just make a minor change and suddenly it works. But I'm just basically trying to get the autocomplete. We had checked after class, we got the appropriate imports, and it still didn't work. But I know I fixed it that way in the past, but it's hard to remember that that's what you do. It's a little silly, so it doesn't feel like it's 100% working, but it works the way it is right now. I don't see any errors, and now that I have the CrimeListViewModel, comma, hey, CrimeListViewModel, oh, not comma, inside of the double quotes, I will say total number of crimes, colon, and then the escape character, CrimeListViewModel. And as soon as I start typing something from the CrimeListViewModel, it might give me curly braces. At least it did in class. Crimes.size. And it didn't this time. All right, well, that's a mistake, but I'm going to run it anyway. And I haven't run yet, so this might take a little bit of time. And a blank screen. Why a blank screen? Did not expect a blank screen. I'm going to go check that. Maybe I left a change in here that I didn't expect because I had been playing around with this code. So I'm going to go to activity_main. Hang on. All right, so I wanted to show a couple of failures, and that I accidentally succeeded here because I left a bit of code in there, but I'll get to the punchline. This is a very important line of code, and it's telling me, yes, I'm hosting a fragment. That's where it says I'm hosting a fragment. This says the name of the KT file, fully qualified, that I'm going to use, that I'm going to host. And this was the crime detail. So that's what I thought I had left it as. And when I do, it goes to this screen. But I had already changed it to CrimeListFragment, and that is what I should do. And so when I ran it just now and got a blank white screen, what looks like a failure really is a success. Remember, we don't have that user interface yet, so it's blank. We got the KT file, but it's not associated with anything visual. OK, so let's see. I don't want to stop it yet. I'm going to go to the logcat and total number of crimes. OK, tag CrimeListFragment. Total number of crimes is, and I want to scroll. Hang on. And I can't find a scroll bar there, so I'm going to use the soft wrap. And total number of crimes, com.example. Total number of crimes, com.example. OK, so that's the other error that I left in there, and I kind of said what the error was. Let's go back to CrimeListFragment. And the error is that this escape character is just going to be for the thing immediately to the left of it. And in order to group it, I have to use the curly braces, which in class for both my sections, it gave me that automatically. At least the student said it, because I was coding and talking and didn't know that or think that I did it all by myself. Oh, by the way, it goes com.example, and then here's the rest of that wrapped around. All right, so now that I've got that grouped, I do expect it to say that I've got 100 crimes. And let's see if it does. It does. Total number of crimes, 100. So that is working. So we are going to leave it there, and I'll see you in the next video.